compromised with each other, had a meeting on it. So they decided they were going to make me a fry cook. And fry cook is a vegetable cook. You know, like cream, spinach, avocado, nasqua, you know what I mean, plastic knives, and peppers, potatoes, and, you know, all kinds of vegetables, you know. And I was good at that too. So they sent me to once Gamage. Gamage means decorate cold cuts. So I would walk around with my hat on. I was feeling good. That was the quality building destroyed. I don't know if y'all was still there in here in the planet then. But that was the equality building destroyed. And at that year, that's when Martin Luther King got assassinated. And they were going to burn New York to the ground. And what stopped that was the 5% teachings. Right? Because the laws didn't allow that to happen. They had high-powered guns all over the roofs and everything. And we would ride in the store, they wanted to shoot the baby. Law said, that's when Mayor Lindsay got out. They had cameras. Mayor Lindsay getting out of bed, and he's coming down Harlem to meet Allah. Back to Allah. And Allah said, peace. And all nice. I remember the time that Allah, when I met Allah, when Allah was in a mental institution. And Allah symbolized the whole mental institution. You know? See, his name, the government calls him God. We call him Allah. That's our fault. That's our fault. It says, I will send you my son, my only begotten son. So whosoever believes should not perish but have everlasting life. I'm his son. So when you cross me, you cross Allah. You understand what I'm saying? And you will be beaten with many stripes, believe me. All right, I broke this knuckle in the year equality bill destroyed for Allah. But that's the time when it was threatening his life, and we had to go to martial arts and learn the science of self-defense. We had a lot of Muslims who was coming and trying to roll on us about the papers on us. Allah told us about the paper, what they were going to do when they dropped the paper on you. And we jumped down, and, you know, the type of moves like that on us. But they tried to do that to Allah. Allah went down with him and looked around and said, hey, take that back, and did something to him and flipped him and take that back to Captain Joseph. But anyway, when he told me that he didn't want me out in the street, he wanted me to repair his days of the days of acquittal, which is the last days. Because we need our universal storehouse. We need the sassafras tea. We need the mint tea, the coals and all that. We need to invite more brothers and sisters in our new community and show them that we are about freedom, justice, and equality. The first, our universal greeting is peace. And then we were the first one on the planet Earth that said peace. We said shalom, assalamu alaikum. We said peace, the black man God. That's our food for the mind. You know, and now the whole world wants peace. The Father said there's going to be time that the movie's going to be shot right here. The movies come from everywhere right here. Everything the Father says come to pass now. I went to meeting, they said they're going to have a Million Man March. It's not going to be the Million Man March, it's going to be the People March now. That means that we can bring the earth with us. But the first time, this is the dollars that I start to give, it's about it's coming up again. So I'm getting my own bus. I told Brother Kevin I'm getting my own bus. But back to what I'm saying, the equality bill destroyed. That was a very hellified year. Just like the time when the equality culture, when the father went in the institution. And because he came in the name of our law. And in the name of God, and they didn't understand, called him crazy and mad and sane and all that. So when they put him in the institutions, it was just like Jonah swallowed the whale. Jonah was swallowed by the whale. Right? So when Father was teaching, It was just tickling in the well, tickling in the well. And in them years, we had water shortages. You couldn't play Johnny Pump, you couldn't work on you couldn't water your cars down. Because the father said they gonna cry. They gonna cry, man. He did a little drizzle and everything. But we know what the father said. You know, and the water got low and low and low. And he cried. The pump of Rome came to see the man that was called God. He came and face to face, and he went back to Rome. He died. They had to get a new pope. And he cried to God. The father came out. He said, I came to the rock, and I'm leaving. And in that time, in them years, he cried to God. That's when we got the universal flag. You know, that flag is your flag. You got to represent that flag because you represent your nation. And you got yours. You yourself, your woman, your baby, that's sun, moon, and star. Like I said, you were born solid, liquid, and gases, sun, moon, and star, man, woman, and child. That's 9. I am, the Alpha Omega. There's no beginning and there's no ending. We are older in sun, moon, and star. No one in the world is better and greater than this nation here. We are not about religions. We're here to crush all religions. Religion is a form of a doubt. That's why you got so many of them. This is a way of life. This is what I told the Muslim last night. Islam is a way of life. And it's a righteous way of life. So if you see a brother that's hungry and you can feed that brother, feed that brother. If you got clothes that you don't wear no more and you see a brother, give him some clothes that you don't need no more. What you need them for? They got the Salvation Army, what they do? Make more money off the law. They say, who's the 10%? You see the 10%? Salvation Army is good people too, believe me. We need the food, shelter, and clothing our own family. When we cook, we need to cook for everybody. I went to a meeting last night. This brother fell down as soon as we finished. Everybody eating. He actually died. We got to stop doing that. When the Father was here, the earth shall bring food. Everybody brings different types of food. We had a sister named Naya, and she used to cook. Had all the sisters cooking. That was back in the day. See, we have to renew our history every 25,000 years. And renew it for another 25. That's renewing every 25 days of this is the route. We drop the cycle now. Because that's our power. But anyway, back to what I'm saying. We have to unify. You're not teaching civilization to those who travel. I'm watching you. You see some very young people. You come to my neighborhood, oh, I'm taking over my whole community. I remember Errol said, only take one person to say this. And I'm dealing with it. I had a food program, we're working on a community center, I'm working on job training. Like I know Yankee Stadium is hiring, Shea Stadium is hiring, UPS is hiring, construction's coming up in Holland. We are trying to get these jobs with these brothers that need these jobs up in Holland. So, there's a lot of things, a lot of issues that we have to do with internally. I cannot drop nothing on you and you get the best of your stuff. You pass all equality, you on your own. I'm here to save the babies. Because the babies been right from my whole time this shit. I want every brother to come up and speak. I want to hear you all the time. You ain't got nothing to say. You ain't doing nothing for law school and nothing for this. You don't need to get up in this side and what you try to put on the show and stuff? You know, I'm tired of y'all coming to the Father's name and using the Father. The Father got this on his own. What are you going to do? In the name of you. I know what God Freedom is doing. I know what my daughters have, what they doing, they getting ready to homework when they go to school tomorrow. If they cannot do it, they ain't had their homework done, they just came from in town, because it was out of town this weekend. And I was home by myself. I came to school, they on security or something. So what I'm saying, I know the truth about master equality. Are you suggesting this time is up or something?
No, continue, God.
Okay.
No.
All right, I don't read it. So what I'm saying, there's no greater nation in this. So you can always come and bring a gas in. You know? You can go, you know, like, go and visit your block association. Get involved with your community. Because we are the activists, we are the streetologists. We master the streets. I remember time I used to take over the bus and you ain't got no money, let's take over the wrong dude. We chased the sisters off the corner, chased the pimps, and robbed the tricks. I did that. I was the guard now, man. You understand what I'm saying? So, Allah is no joke. You know? The father knew he was going home. That's why he prepared his sons. He said, a queen will rise to the top. And that's his sons. You see that, God? That's Allah. It's not me. See that, God? That's Allah. It's not me. God, I know for years. It makes me feel good. I could go in California, although I know the house will be taken care of. You ain't no Johnny come late to take over a law 360 degrees and come up here and say what you want to say and ain't doing nothing but the black man, the black woman, the black baby. That's 3 times 120. What's that? 360 right there? See, we have mathematics. That's our language. And this is the wisdom money, which is born. Father equality born. This is what the Father did for you. You may see the Father. Look in the mirror. You want to see the Father? Look in the mirror. You see him? It'll blow your mind. This is more important to me than anything. I give all of my power to destroy the devil, and the devil is negative bias, confusion. A toothache would be devil smith. Somebody give you a toothache, hey, negative bias. God is positive. You see the negative bias, you round it with a positive. Ain't no one better and greater than you. If you do, go stab yourself. Get rid of yourself. You ain't got nothing positive in this side to say that you can't help the school or help this nation of gods and earth. Get out of here. We don't need you. And I bet you, the ball game is bet. I didn't want to really take that bet. He said, I live out this here, I eat my hat. And I thought I made it, but I cut up my fingers and everything, chopped up some stuff, heard that? Okay, oh man, that was heavy. I said, oh man. And the only thing he was thinking, I couldn't work in society no more for a while. I said, who's that coming to take my father out of here? And I remember he always said, I'm going home, I'm going home. You know? He seen certain things that I didn't see. We was young, we was young. There was a lot of organizations out to rip us off. They come amongst us, come to our names. The blood suck off us. You see music world today. They ain't giving this nation a dime. What they giving our nation? And they using our nation as a shield. That's why I said when I'm building, I don't want everybody to build. I'm going to screen the ones that I ain't giving you my idea. Because I like to throw them out there so you can blood suck off and sit back and live in luxury. I got some great ideas. You know, so you got to hold it down. The Father said, told me before they go home, he said, don't look for the organizations that come and rip you off. Watch the one who's sitting right next to you. The one who come amongst you. A Muslim brother used to tell me, he said, man, don't knock on my door wearing home. Why you come to see my woman? See me, don't knock on my door. You're not really coming to see my woman. I said, me, Ibrahim? I said, nah, what do I need yours for? That's what I tell them. Now why? What you talking about? Now, I don't have 9 now. I don't want no more. No problem, I don't want no more. I got enough daughters now. I got daughters, man. I got daughters right down Medina. She with God now. She left New York $108,000. She went out there and bought some land. She said, Dad, when you come to see me, Dad, in the land? I said, I'm sending this brother down there. I sent God down there, my son down there. He's in college down there. I got nothing. All my kids are building. My cream is rising. My earth is rising. I'm still the only poor and righteous. You know what I mean? Don't fool yourself. You understand what I'm saying? So what I'm saying, we have to do what we can to make this a better nation for our earth and our babies. Because we are FOA. We are the fruit of our love. You know what I'm saying? And the earth is the mother of all civilization. All. Because she reflected light from God. And that's powerful. Because he draw up 6 miles of earth that's he goes out that man today, 2,018 miles a second. She gets sometimes she gets back, like they DHL. Fall. See, that's how you see your lessons. Understand your lessons. All the ones that's othering us, they're our children. Because God is a father. And the father knows his responsibilities. He knows his responsibilities. Ain't gonna say you God and like, you got snap. You ain't gonna give me choose or maybe a beacon thin or something. Wrong way. Take my earth out, man. Why don't you shut your palm off or something? I get you a job. You want a job? Who needs a job? Right there. You need a job? Okay, Shea Stadium's hiring next month. Okay? You go out to Shea Stadium, go in there early, God, the E-gate. I worked at Shea Stadium ever since '69. I used to take 20 guards out there with me. Yes. And the thing about a Shea Stadium is 32 BJ now. So that means benefits. You know? And UPS is hiring. I know certain other places is hiring, but right now, I just want to hit you with that. There's plenty jobs out in the desert. I live in the desert. I used to be Burkina, the lion, mighty war, roll, man, anything. But I have to go to the desert because that's what the rich and famous do. The basketball players and all them out there, the tennis. I don't want to leave the desert. My daughter name is Mecca Oasis. And that's what the desert is like, Oasis out there, you know? But they got a clean mall out there too, God, and they're high in the mall. You know? And there's a lot of other things coming up over there in the desert. And my nephew, he's into construction. Certain guys would call me and I told him they would work for my nephew. They paid $125 a day. And we're trying to open up that field for construction. There's a lot of construction coming in Mecca. Right? My brother and Akbar, remember Akbar? Remember my brother Tucson was into that field of construction. And the construction fields is open up. But Yankee Stadium, Shea Stadium is 32 BJ now. They are hiring. Jobs that need jobs, they need to go to get jobs because you cannot come in this nation without showing economics. You understand what I'm saying? You got to help us because we got a lot of things to do for this nation. The Street Academy need money. I want to give you a couple of buckle machines. I don't need y'all to get my equipment. I will get my own equipment. So I want y'all to do one thing for me before I go. I want to sing my song. Peace out, Allah, you just said it. Whoa, Allah, you just said it. Peace out, Allah, you just said it. Whoa, Allah, you just said it. Each and every day, each and every way, I'm going to show and prove to teach the righteous way. Peace out, Allah, you just said, yeah, Allah, you just said, peace out, Allah, you just said, whoa, Allah, you just said, knowledge is foundation, the wisdom is the way, understanding shows us that we on our way. Peace Allah, Allah you just said, whoa, Allah you just said, peace Allah, Allah you just said, whoa, Allah you just said, culture is alcohol, the power is the truth, equality only shows God has left the rules. Peace Allah, Allah you just said, whoa, Allah you just said, peace Allah, Allah you just said, whoa, Allah you just said, God came to teach us of the righteous way. Now we must live, that's what he told you. Peace Allah, but this build to be born on this glorious day. Peace Allah, Allah you just said, whoa, Allah you just said, peace Allah, Allah you just said, whoa, Allah you just said, the knowledge of the cypher is to enlighten you, to let you know that God is running on you. Peace Allah, Allah you just said, whoa, Allah you just said, peace. Hey, 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 hey. Peace.
Faith is rage. The wisdom of destroy. I've been a part of this nation for 10 years. We announced that cycle. My first time speaking up there.
Take your time, God.
I'm cool. Damn.
Watch your mouth, though.
Pardon me, guys. pardon me, verse 2. Paul asked me a question a couple of weeks ago. He asked me, as a nation, what do we need to get back to? Now, usually I would answer questions like that because, I mean, I don't like conflict. I mean, but you're going to notice, like, you got to take on conflict, you got to take things into controversial, right? So, I told about the brotherhood. That's what I want to speak about. Today's degree, wisdom God. What was the name of the place where the devil was manufactured? Answer. Belon, St. Patmos, Revelation chapter 1, verse 9. And I was situated on the Aegean Sea. I, John, am also your brother and companion in tribulation, and in the kingdom and patience of Jesus Christ, was in the isle that's called Patmos, for the word of God, for the testimony of Jesus Christ. Now, what I want to speak about is brother and companion in tribulation. I'm speaking about brother and companion in tribulation. Now, this is the wisdom moment of fatherly born. And I can't think of a more appropriate time because that's what this is fatherly born. Brotherhood, in one word, brotherhood. Brother and companion in tribulation. I'm going to do the brother first. First of all, what makes us brothers, man? I mean, what forms brotherhood? What makes us brothers? Okay. Huh? I go with that guy. I mean, aside from the fact that the same family name, we speak a common language, we have a common culture. What does that make us brothers? Here's my take on it. I would say, bear with me, please. I mean, bear with me. I'm a little shaky here. Bear with me.
Take your time, God. Time.
I would say, God, I mean, it could be studying lessons with your brother. I mean, studying lessons. It could be walking the lane together, walking and talking together. It could be breaking bread with your brother. It could be going on a fast, but what brothers don't do now, you're going on a fast with your brother. It could be that. That's what forms brotherhood, man. And when the brotherhood is formed, it's like somebody they come along with an unlike idea, I mean, and break the bond of the brotherhood. You see what I'm saying? So backbiting is not allowed, backstabbing is not allowed, and doing with your brother unjustly is certainly not allowed. Because these kind of things destroy brotherhood, prevent brotherhood from even happening to begin with. You understand what I'm saying? Brotherhood. So you get back to brotherhood. And I want to deal with companion in tribulation. Companionship in tribulation. So the tribulation. Tribulation, God, is just going from the ups and downs of everything living, man. I mean, it's like...
I feel, God.
Okay, God. Tribulation, God, we just going through everything living, God. That's tribulation right there, man. And I mean, the tribulation is like, something your righteousness is being tried and tested. I mean, by the grace of Allah, to not decided, to do it all. Keep on pushing. You understand what I'm saying? You know what I mean? It's like the companion tribulation, God. It's not like somebody that can relate to what you're going through. That's your companion tribulation, God. Like, who relate to what you're going through. But somebody you read along your travels when you're going through tribulation, God. And one thing I learned, God, is like, God, you have to be tested, God. You have to be tested. You understand what I'm saying? One thing about the devil, God, the devil is not interested in the professor, God. When he says, kill Allah, and he has to kill Allah his 5%, they don't mean a good professor, God. They want somebody that's just and true. That's what they have to kill, God, somebody that's just and true, God, because they're threat to them, God, because, but y'all realize that not, God, we're here to change the world, God. We are here to change the world, God. You understand what I'm saying? It's like, it's not telling you the entire world, God, because the earth belongs to Allah. You understand what I'm saying, God? But that's what I'm saying about that, though, God. I mean, I'm going to say peace, though. But peace.
Today, the Father, we consider the Father's Father. Father born. You all know, some of you may not know, Father's degree day is on the Wisdom Day of this month. And every month in February, we always strive to do something in honoring our Father, what we call a tribute to the Father, our Lord. This month, a program has been put together so we can get a better understanding of the teaching that Almighty God Allah left for us to follow, which I call the blueprint. Everybody has to have a blueprint. You deal with architects, and your father is an architect, but he's the one that put this nation into motion. And he left the blueprint for us to follow to keep building on a strong foundation that he allowed us to have. Yo, God, God. God is always proper. God. In the back. God.
In the back.
It's always proper, God, that when people speaking, everybody should be sitting down doing it now if they're inside the auditorium. Just pass the word. We want everybody to keep their attention focused on the mathematics of the day, which is wisdom of God. And it's always God's duty to manifest the wisdom to make things born. And in this day and time, when we make it born, is the reality of the existence of Almighty God, Allah, through His teaching, through Him planting the seed, and leaving us with His firstborn and all the elders that are here today, to be able to transmit to you and me the knowledge of this great and mighty nation. Now, I'm going to be one of the brothers that's going to be hosted in between to add on to the cycle. My name is Born Justice Allah. I was raised in Mecca, but I reside in Piedmont. The other God that's going to be emceeing with me is the God R2. He's sitting right over there right now. Now, I don't know how many of you have a program. If you don't have one, we have some so you can follow the plan person by person. Some of the people are here, some adjustments have been made, and we're going to keep flowing. We're going to even have a segment where you can ask questions, ask, and you can get answers from those who are limited and those who are still living. Because this is the best time in the month. This month and June and October, that you can really get a whole bunch of gods on earth that come from far and near to be here in our presence, where we can tap into the jewels and the knowledge and resources of what they experience. And I know y'all have a lot of questions, because I still have questions. And I have found myself since 1968, and there's still things in my mind that I ask certain people at certain times. I know a lot of y'all are young in these teachings, and that's even good, because it's better to see the young, more so than seeing some of the old. Because the law says the great are baby. We want to make sure that that brings far and near. So without further ado, I think the Lord, you're just going to be the first person speaking, and he's not here right now. So what I'll do is I'll just hold it down for a second. I got knowledge of myself in 1968 in Oakville State Training School for Boys. I was one of them rough, bad-ass adolescents that didn't want to adhere to the rules and regulations of my parents, nor of the people that I was raised up under. And in the midst of me not listening to those rules and regulations and violating, I had a punishment. My punishment was to go to a juvenile facility. In that facility, I got knowledge of myself from two gods. One named El Java, and one God named was El Yatu. My knowledge didn't come from just one branch of elders. The best thing about me receiving knowledge I'm grateful to is that over the years I've been blessed to go to what I call a higher school of learning by building with God who lived this out, who walked with the Father, who was taught by the first time born and taught by the Father. So my knowledge came from various areas, and to me, it helped arm me and make me a much sharper and a much wiser person compared to just getting knowledge from one person. I had a variety. And one of the gods that helped crystallize the knowledge I had, I'm glad he's here. God named Lord Just Allah. When I was incarcerated another time, he was one of the gods that helped introduce me to firstborn Prince Allah. And by me meeting that brother, he helped crystallize the understanding of the knowledge I manifest today. So over the years, you get yourself attached to various people who pass on jewels to you about the knowledge and how it was rooted and taught in that day and time. And out of all the brothers I ever been in contact with, one thing remained sound and supreme with all of them. They say, God, teach the truth regardless of whom or what, keep it simple and make it plain, never deviate from the path of righteousness, and you'll never go astray. And I've stayed fast in that principle, and I've held fast to that principle. It's not an easy task. It's not easy being God. Do not be mistaken. Do not be fooled. And it's not easy to be on earth. When you come into this nation, you come through these doors, the whole world is against you. And Almighty God of Allah stood the test of time to show and prove how we can do this by being God. That's why we're here today. And we plan on being here forevermore. Because everybody in here has knowledge of self. If you were to take that time to teach one person the knowledge of themselves, that the black man is God, and that the black woman is the mother of civilization and the earth, and the babies are the grave, and that the white man is the devil, you keep those things in front of you, you'll never fall victim to the rules of civilization that is being manifested by the devil. Never. But you gotta stay focused. And one of the things that we have on our great asset is the law school of America. Everything we do is like, that's the needle, and we just pray and go through this. And by going through there, you acquire knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. So right now, without further ado, I'm going to introduce Allah You Justice. Hey.
Hey. Hey. I'm glad that you all come out and share with us on this day a tribute to our father who gave birth to a great nation. Always has been and always will be. Not only is the wisdom of God just the word of God, but it is the actions of God. So we are out here today to deal with all of that today. Build on all of that with the babies. See, we got the babies. We want to build too. That's right. That's little born king right there. But anyway, what I want to say to y'all, this is the second all history rally that we put together so that we can come out and share our beautiful and our glorious history, the history of this nation. What I saw in regards to putting this together by building with a lot of gods and earths in our nation, or when I was away incarcerated, I saw a lot of individuals had the history of this nation confused. A lot of things that they were saying didn't have no relevance and no place in this nation. So I said, we need an all history rally. After I came home, after being out here for a period of 2 years, I went amongst those that I built with prior to me going to prison. And I see a lot of us, as we noticed, we are becoming elderly. Some of us were 18 or 19 when we got knowledge. But we are now in our 50s. Some of us have recently passed on. And some of them have the history of this nation. We can't take that with us. We got to give it. That is the breath of life. That is the primer. That's what we got to pass on to our babies. And some of our babies in this nation were birthed in this nation, but they're taking it elsewhere. So those gods and earth in this nation that have this history have to get up here and rebuild. They got to give it back. They can't hoard that. They got to give it back. And if you know any of them, and they're not giving it back, go to them, speak to them, and bring it back here. Bring it to the nation. They got to give it up, God. And that's what the All History Rally is about. We can't wait 10 or 15 years from now, or 40 years from now, when my seed and a lot of reality seed is coming together and they're saying different things. That foundation got to be strong. I got my knowledge, and knowledge born God's sight. That was in 1970. I went to the Leon Institution and ran into a brother by the name of Amar Education, who's from Mecca, 99th Street, and Gumau completed law, which many of y'all know, and the father C, A-Law. We were all together, and they was instrumental in my growth and development. That was my foundation. That was her father. That was my group. That's where I can trace it back to. My lineage. And those brothers that get up here from the 70s should be able to trace their lineage. Then I went on, and God praise him, I just want to tell you about 1966. Because I rested in Mecca, and I got a history here too. In 1966, when it comes to the history of this nation, I watched gods in this nation come to my block on 118th Street between 5th and Lennon. And some of you that still elders in this nation will remember that. They had these big old afro with wisdom parts in it. That's right. And they used to walk like this. You could see them coming, walking like this, and they had these camel boots on. That's what they called camel boots back then. And some of the pictures, you see the father, he got camel boots on. You know, that's how they used to go. Okay, that was just a portion of that history that I remember. But I'd like to take you to another portion of history that I want to give back to you that's a value in our nation. And knowledge born God wisdom. Myself, this brother here, I born justice. His physical brother, Jamal, a lot of us, we have one kingdom and belong. And all of us were individuals who were rebelled against our family. Some of us would even throw out our houses because we wouldn't eat in our own earth pets. So what we did, we band together. We had a group of us. Our freedom was no longer on this planet was small. He was there. But we used to rest in one apartment that another brother by the name of Boy Justice gave us. All we had to do was keep it responsible. And a lot of us, we didn't have clothes like we have today. Our Boy Justice might have had 2 pair of pants. I might have had 2 shirts. Another brother might have had 2 pair of sneakers. But you know what we dealt with? Supreme equality. And that's something that we need to continue. That's a value. If I needed to wear his shirt, he let me wear it as long as I kept it clean. And he could wear my pants as long as he kept them clean. And I could wear reality sneakers as long as I took care of it. That was a supreme equality that we manifested. And when we went to eat, if one of them didn't have gold and two or three of us did, it didn't matter if he didn't have gold. He manifested his equality by what? Cooking or cleaning the pots. That's what we dealt with. We had a supreme equality that we kept amongst us. And that's a value that I see that's not inherent and allowable in this nation. That's why we have to go back into the history and bring it back to you. But that's something that needs to be taught. That's a value in our nation. That's the purpose in having all history rallies, so that we can go back and renew our history. It doesn't mean we have to repeat everything, but we have to renew it and get the best part out of it. Get the best out of it and continue to build this nation. If our foundation is not right as that, we got to get that from the elders in this nation. If that's not right as that, then what's going to make our babies right as that in the future? They'll be arguing amongst each other about our foundation. So those elders that are still around, those that got it, the word of God from our Father, need to make knowledge born. They have to manifest that. And I know I'm right exact about that when I look at my babies and I see that they are arguing with one another about our degrees. But the all history rallies for all of us. It's our nation. It's our growth and development. In order to take this nation a step further, then we have to be one mind, one sound mind. And with that, I say peace.
Peace, God.
In the name of Allah, I greet you, almighty great nation of God's earth and our universal greeting of power, equality, Allah, city, peace. On this Father, equality born day, wisdom God, we're going to make things born, and they're going to be born alive. And all those that is born dead, they're born still and not making no movement. Being born alive is to make progress. From your wisdom, you will see the manifestation of God as is manifested in the wilderness of North America and all over the planet Earth. Almighty God Allah came in equality culture. That's knowledge adding a what? A cipher. So he let you know off the top that he's going to use his knowledge as he did to add a cipher. And the cipher wasn't no ordinary cipher. It was a complete cipher, 360 degrees, with the power to heal the dead in this last day and time, so that the world would come to know his knowledge, his wisdom, and his understanding, to know the fact that the supreme being, the black man of Asia, Almighty God Allah, made his presence known in the wilderness of North America. And it was to a young, youthful nation that he came to. Why did he come to a young, youthful nation, a young, youthful people that actually was savages? We was poison apple eaters. We was those slaves with mental justice power. We didn't know the true origin of God and who the true and living God was in the world. We didn't even know who the devil was. We were being stepped on every day by the devil. And we thought we was the best. We was the best dressers, the best dancers, the best stick-up kids, the best dope sellers. Even if we was in the so-called pimp world, we had the brothers that was the best pimps, and thus the women that was the best hoes. But that was all in the negative world. Those was not the best things for the best people to do. Those were the things that we was doing because we was deceived and led in the wrong direction by the devil. So Allah came to the babies who were the fresh bones in the grave. Our parents was the dead or the dry bones in the grave of Christianity, and we was being taught by them, but we wasn't the dead or the dry bones, we were the fresh bones. Bones represent having no flesh or no meat on your work. Body is just a skeleton. And things that is just a skeleton, it has no what? Substance. So we had a physical structure, but it actually had no what? Substance. Allah came and applied the high science of supreme mathematics and put substance in our very being, where we was no longer just fresh bones, but he filled us up with substance, meat. There's a saying about the bone of contention. And I don't want to add this, that there was a pack of dogs on the road, and they was contending for one bone. But it was a man coming down that road as the dogs was fighting like wild beasts do over one bone. And then the man was on the road and get past the dogs. And he was wild. That he going the dogs was fighting over the bones, and he got flesh and 200 or more bones on him. They're gonna tear him apart. But he was wise. He grabbed the bone with the flesh and the 200 upon him and threw the bone in another direction off the road so he could sail clearly down the road and send the dogs in the other direction to contend for a bone of contention. And that's what some of us do often, that we contend for a bone that has no substance and think that it's the world. Our babies is in the world of materialistic luxuries. They think the video is the world of reality. And what is they projecting in videos today are music videos. Thugs, pimps, and hoes and suckers. That is not the best. That is not the reality. So Allah came to give us the reality. And after we was given the reality, many go back and revert to suckerism. Don't revert to suckerism. Use your supreme mathematics as we had done in the very beginning. It wasn't many of us in the world beginning, but all that was in the beginning, we were together. You heard God spoke about how we dealt equal with one another. We knew our brothers and our what? Sisters. It wasn't just a word, peace God, peace earth, and you go about your what? Business. It was about building. And you don't just build in terms of building a building constructively. You build through your intelligence, through your love. That's the greatest force on the planet Earth. The love of what? Self. So love yourself. And in the manifestation of loving yourself, you will show that love for your brother. This is what our nation is established upon. Love of self. The Father loved us most dearly. So much so that when he came to say the babies, the devil detested the fact. And they didn't detest it calmly with a simple argument. They came with assassination teams to try to take them out of here. For what?
not for robbing, not for stealing, not for lying, and not for throwing any bricks. Just for teaching the what? The baby that nobody gave a damn about. I was one of those babies, and ain't nobody gave a damn about us then. And the government of the United States was plotting at that very time to do something just to the children of power. And if you don't think that's a fact, you can go to the United States Congressional Record and look up the Harlem Youth Act by the United States Congress and see how they was plotting on the youth at that time, and specifically in Harlem. And this was just a pilot project. So the father, with his divine focus on the one that devil was plotting against the most. Because it was said in the last days that God would come and save the one that was most downtrodden. And we was the most downtrodden. The devil had the old folks, and they were trying to get the baby, and they was plotting against the baby. Yes.
Anybody own a blue Windstar that's double parked outside? You have somebody blocked in?
Could y'all do me a favor and move up? I mean, God, move up, please, move up. This is my time. If that's what they want to do, it's all right with me, family. But what you got to show and prove is your sense of unity. And in your sense of unity, you show that by doing what is right and exact. So I'm going to continue and show that love that the Father showed for us in the very beginning. And this is our foundation. And our foundation means that this is what we continuously build upon. We're not talking about somebody coming later and deviate from the foundation that was laid by Almighty God Allah. It was built upon love, not hate, appreciation of self, not depreciation of self. So when you see your brother, you see your sister, you show that love, not only in the word of peace, but you want to know how they're doing today, how they did yesterday, and how they're expected to do the next day. And we build on that unity. We talking about the quality of the matter. I'm not talking about the quantity. I wouldn't care if it was 100,000 of us. 100,000 not doing right is 100,000 or nothing. 10 that is doing right is 10 showing improvement Almighty God Allah's greatness. So there's only going to be 10 of us, and we're going to show and prove Almighty God Allah's greatness, and that's what we do. That is the foundation. And I always think about the fact that they always speak about our righteous brother Jesus the Christ 2,000 years later. But they use his name to do a whole lot of dirty things to shield their filthy ways and actions. And that's just not right. And what I would do is to assure by living righteously that the Father's name not go in vain, not be deceived, or not to lead the people in the what? Wrong direction. Everything the Father did was just and true. And you got people that walk amongst us, claim that they walk with the Father, and they did foul things, and they claim that the Father did foul things with them. And that's a goddamn lie. Because all he ever did was righteousness. And when he came to us and brought it to us, it came violently. But it didn't scare him, it didn't kill him. And when he healed, it didn't scare him. He came right back to the very same spot where he left us with dead and continued to teach. Now you tell me, oh man, with more love than that. Give me an example, if you know any. I don't know none. And not only that, he went to the hell after being left for dead and recuperating. They snatched him 5 months later and put him in the buckhouse. But they couldn't kill him, so they claimed he was crazy for not running. Because he wasn't no coward. He stood up like a thoroughbred, a real man, a black man. Little known black man. They heard about Malcolm in that day. They had Malcolm on the TV and television and everything. But when it exploded in Harlem in '64, they called Malcolm, and Malcolm told him he couldn't control the Harlem riots.
but he didn't have a baby. They had to go to somebody else who had the what? The blood brothers. And that was us. We was the babies, there was the blood brothers. And we was the ones that the father recruited from and taught. So the whole government was thinking about doing something to the blood brothers. That's a history that's rich in dynamic force that was manifested by Nat Turner, Harriet Tubman, Gabriel Posey, and all of those brothers and sisters that continue to struggle against the hell of this oppression in America. We got a serious spirit, and it drives in us based upon freedom, justice, and equality. You got the firstborn that came like real men, babies, knowledge equality. Knowledge culture, knowledge power, knowledge equality. Babies detested the school system because we wasn't getting no real education or the knowledge of self or the love for self. They was teaching us to hate ourselves, much like they do today. They don't teach you to love yourself in school. We got to go back to homeschooling. We got to set up our own educational system. This is the foundation laid by Almighty God, and these are the bricks that we must lay on that foundation until we complete the house with a roof that is sturdy and weatherproof. This is our job. This is our mission. Your history is rich in modern day and time. Not just the historical facts of our ancient history that is glorious. So know and learn your ancient history that is glorious, but know and understand your present day history. Because your present day history, you are charged with the actions to make the history today that we are talking about tomorrow. In the name of our Lord, our Father, peace.
Peace. Peace. Peace. That was all beat. Back to making it plain. Anybody have a blue Acura? North Carolina tag outside double bar? You got somebody blocked there? Okay, thank you, boy. Black movie car. Oh, okay. Next on the program, we got Brother Zaire with the regionalization. Please, Zaire.
Peace, family. It's great to be here, and it's even greater to be able to manifest the status on the update of what's going on around the various regions in the nation. This is 3.5 years going on, 4 years of the idea being manifest of the growth and development process, and we have a lot of activity that we would like to report on. So I'm going to get right in it, and I built with some of the guys at Mecca, and I got an update. These are going to be brief updates. Region 1 got some things going on, and all over, basically. The Desert Felon and Mecca are all involved in the growth and development process, and Felon is just recently part of some meetings for the growth and development process. The University Black Family has moved into Aqua's Community Center. That is a law school in Medina and is operating out of that location. Monthly rallies are being held there. A law youth center in Mecca is featuring computer classes, reading programs, in Mecca Amethyst. The tutorial program now being held at the law school in Mecca. There's a dance coming up for the new Asiatic year on March 20th out in the desert. And it's a collaboration between the desert and Medina. Earth Appreciation Day is in March. Historical costume party scheduled for April for the babies at the school in Medina, hosted by Father Divine. And then the show and Prove Dancing and Casino Night scheduled in Medina for June 11th. Now, I don't know about you, but where I stand, but there's a lot of activity going on in Region 1. All right, and this is just the start of it. Because there's a lot going on that has not been reported here, and I'm just going to encourage everybody in Region 1 to get involved. There's a lot of work to do, and you know, at this point in time, things are really up and running. Yeah, good,
All right, just to go through it. Like Region 1, for those who don't know, basically, it's like 5 boroughs, you know what I'm saying? Just dealing with this area now watching, you know what I mean? So just to give you an idea, because when you hear region, you may not know exactly what people are talking about. So why don't you go through it also so you can be clear about what we're talking about so you can add on with those in the area. Region 2. Region 2 is the Northeast region, Black Medina, Connecticut, you know what I mean, Mecca, Mass, and all those areas up in the Northeast basically. There was a lecture on understanding 120 degrees in Black Medina, which is part of a lecture tour that's happening in Region 2. You know, so Dumar came up and spoke to the gods and the earth on understanding 120 degrees. Also, the gods and the earth in Hartford, Connecticut, the region as a whole went to Hartford and hoped to stop the violence campaign. You know what I mean? That's the second year in a row that we get real good results from that. So they're doing that as far as community activism in the community. And also, they've established a comprehensive list. So it means that they can find someone in every city. A lot of it's not hard to find people in cities that we travel with. So if you talk to somebody in Region 2, they can actually tell you who's in every city. That's to give you an idea about Region 2.
All right, Region 3, basically dealing with Philly, Trenton, Asbury Park, Baltimore, DC. They've been building too. They've been having regular scheduled meetings out there throughout 2004. They have established a bank account for Region 3. They're getting ready to have their second Regional 2 conference, and that will be in May. Is it May 15th? Okay, it's in May, so more information will be revealed on that.
All right, Region 4, we got the information from the guy Paul King about what's going on down in the southern area now, see South Carolina, Laws Garden, Florida, and everything like that. Basically, they've been having consistent meetings. They're headed towards their second or third regional conference, third regional conference. You know what I mean? A lot of guys from all over the area are adding on. You know what I mean? South Carolina, Orlando, Florida, or whatever. What your own locally does. These things have been going on. We keep going about it, just trying to emphasize what we're doing, and we're going to bring everything together and make sure the volume quality is really going.
Okay, that's the 15th to the 17th, actually. Also, Region 8, we dealt with the guy I killed this morning, and he gave us a brief update on what they're doing. They started civilization classes and 120 classes, and they're doing something similar to what Region 7 is doing, that they're having some unification type of meetings because there's a whole lot of cyclists, certain people out there teaching more lines, and they pull all that together so that they can come up with one common flag for one common cause. So that's being cleaned up also. The next thing we want to do, because we want to keep this brief, is to provide you with just a little bit of background about the growth and development process and allow you a moment to ask any questions that you might have about the growth and development process. Like the guy Majestic said, it has 9 regions that we deal with, and basically this idea was born in the summer of 2001 when, along with a lot of the guys that are here, as well as from all over the country, attempted to have like a meeting here before the show approved, but we couldn't get access to the facility. So we basically stood on the steps outside and did like an update, brothers building and things of that nature. And so the idea was born that, we need a more uniform structure so we can actually find out what each other is doing all around this country. But the knowledge is spread greatly and widely, however, we are making the nation smaller by providing the growth and development process to use as a structure for communication and collaboration. And the whole thing about the nation getting smaller, that we have electronic means, we do telephone conference calls on a regular basis. I was on a telephone conference call the other night with about 3 different regions participating with Chicago, Milwaukee, Massachusetts, Pittsburgh, New York, all building for like a couple of hours, and it was very fruitful because, we were able to quell some or squash some confusion that was out there as well. So, the power of communication electronically through telephone lines and things of that nature is very important. We're not throwing no bricks here, and we we got agent provocateurs, among us we got, wiretaps and everything else, and you know what? All they're gonna hear is my man. I have nothing to hide. I'm just the truth. You understand? If it was any different, they would have been swamped, put down on us, but it's not like that. We building and, everything is real, we positive. So the other thing that we decided to do was to look at supporting all the various regions and their initiatives so that they can get up and running, and then the power will be shifted to the local areas. Like what you see in Region 1, actually, the Mecca is a local area, the desert is a local area, Pelon is a local area, Medina is a local area, but they all comprise Region 1. There can be a lot happening, and what we want to do is prevent the duplication of effort. In other words, if you have a successful program in the desert, why wouldn't it work in Pelon? If you have a successful program in Mecca, why wouldn't that work in Medina? And all we got to do is give them the paperwork, change some names, and we can duplicate that effort. Right now, the legwork is being done in order to provide the structure and the foundation for growth and development. However, what we're going to be doing is taking this to another level as we move along in this process, and then we'll be hearing more about economic ventures and things of that nature.
And just to add on, once again, so that, understand it's understood, we utilize what we're talking about. The growth and development process is not a process run by anybody, it's a process run through our determined idea to build our nation. You know what I mean? So that's real clear. It's not, don't belong to nobody, it don't belong to me, don't belong to him, it don't get paid. You know what I'm saying? It's real clear. And nobody's trying to run nobody. What it's about is trying to create something. For our children to serve the platform, for their building, for ourselves, and then the whole thing, the family.
That's it. Faith.
In regards to regionalization, if anybody is here from any other region, I wish you would give down here a phone number or a certain means of communication. The reason being, I just want to say this, the reason being, because the calendar that we have set up now, I noticed that different regions are having different affairs at different times. And because of this, a lot of these programs that we're having, they're coming too close together. Like North Carolina is having their regional conference, as well as California. And they're so close together. We want everybody to participate, but it's kind of hard when it comes to economics. So we all have to be in tune with each other. So if y'all are part of one region, and y'all start doing something out there, please contact Zaire and let him know, so that we can have our calendar set up for next year, where we can all support one region at one time. You have Mecca going to North Carolina, and we're having it all through the bus like we did last year. But if you got everything so close together, it's hard to do it.
Next part of the program, we have Ron Bell speaking, but he declined his spot because he filled in with Brother Najee holding the oil down. There's been a change of program. One of the things that I learned over the years, and it's good for you to know this, you need to know to trace your knowledge back as far back to the tree of Allah, to see what fruit or what seed that you came from. See the brother who gave you knowledge, gave him knowledge, and trace it all the way back. Just for your own, what they call ancestry. Chronologically, you need to know the order of where your map and your history came from. So a lot of times people will tell you, oh, I got knowledge from firstborn black Messiah, or I got knowledge from Bob B, or I got knowledge from firstborn Prince of Law. And one of the things that I learned over the years is that certain gods used to make certain adjustments in their lessons when they gave it to their students, so that when you quoted a certain lesson, certain God would know that you was taught by a certain God. Y'all follow what I'm saying? So you need to check your lessons to find out where your lessons came from to make them as clear and accurate as possible. But they're not going to be always the same. They're not going to be there. But your understanding will be the same once you put the knowledge in your head. I say that to say this, but the brother coming up now is one of the guys that was very instrumental in me crystallizing an understanding of 120. Because I had knowledge of self before I met this God. But when I met him, it took me to another level. And on that level that I met him on, it helped me see things that prepared me for my arrival when I came home out of jail in 1986. And thanks to this brother, he allowed me to get a very good look at what I was getting ready to get myself into. So without further ado, we bring on Lord Just Allah.
Peace. It's a great thing, y'all. You know, a lot of times when I look at the nation, I listen. And the brother said something earlier that I'm gonna focus on. And it's called pay attention. That's what my history has been in this nation. Paying attention. Some people want to borrow attention. They don't want to pay. They want to borrow from somebody else. That's why we have a lot of problems in this day and time about the truth that Almighty God, our Father, revealed to all of us equally. The greatest mathematics is wisdom, God, which is born, and we are complete. I would like to say this first, and I want to move as fast as I can to start to get you some other things. In 1964, I was 13 years old. I lived on 129th Street between Linux and 7,000. I used to shoot pigeons on my windowsill because they used to shit, pardon my expression, on my windowsill, and I used to shoot them pigeons because I wanted to get them off. Now there were some brothers on the roof on the other side with pigeon coop. They could tell me, you catch your butt outside, we'll tear you out the frame. So I used to duck them. I used to go over the roof, go down the backyard. But these brothers was the true and living God in my block that was flying birds. I didn't know it at that time. I just knew they had pigeons. In 29th Street in 64, which is the most cognizant year of my life at 13 years old, there was some historical, monumental, instrumental events that took place, as well as our Father stepped into the streets, which everybody else was scared to do. Everybody else wanted to use institutions, wanted to use religion, wanted to use, secrecy to reveal the truth. Our Father was the only one to say, I stepped all the way out for the babies.
Right.
And we were some of the most delinquent, as Allah B said, hard-headed, stiff-necked, and we thought we were slick.
Yep.
Because we was in Harlem. And everybody knows that if you could test it, you could do it here, you could do it anywhere. And if you want to know if you got it, you got to come here. If you want to know if you got it, if you can play ball, if you can sing, if you can dance, if you can fight, you got to come here. That's where it started, man. Now we ain't geographically locked in enough. Because we know the planet Earth belongs to the original man. We can go anywhere, everywhere, and be the same that we are from here or there.
That's right.
64, they had the Harlem Fruit Ride. This was the first time in my life I seen black men, they called them the Blood Brothers, as the God spoke of and Malcolm spoke of in 1965 in a tape we had.
And the book.
I think the only man I seen stand up and run with the police, didn't care if they had guns, knives, or nothing, and said, this is our community, this is our neighborhood, you ain't coming here and abusing nothing and nobody. There wasn't no talking on no microphone and rapping and talking about shooting each other. We were talking about taking care of what ourselves and our community. We didn't have no child abuse, no woman abuse. We took care of it.
That's right.
In our community. We ain't doing it now, and we gotta get back to it. 64, I was 13, and I said, who are these men? But I was paying attention. And I was doing the knowledge. I was being quiet, keeping my mouth shut. And all of a sudden I started hearing names. Sharif, Al-Jabbar, Wali, Messiah. I started hearing names, Bishop. I started looking at these brothers. I said, well, why are they saying that they ain't Joe and Edward and so I'm doing it now. I'm going to 120. That's the name of the school. Cooper. To show you how ironic it is. It was 120.
I went to 120, and I started hearing brothers in my class saying, yo, my name ain't so, my name is this. My name is that. I'm saying, yeah, let me do it now. Pay attention. Acknowledge understanding. And I watched the progress, and I paid attention, I listened. The first brother that really took the time to say something to me, really two brothers I gotta say, was firstborn Bishop and another brother named Sharif. The reason that I speak about Sharif is because Sharif had 4 brothers, and they was giants. I mean, they was 6'5", 2 and some change, and all of them was eating swine. And he was in the house when he was smaller than me. And he stood up to all of them and told them the truth. Right across the street. Firstborn Prince of Law lived directly across the street, or his uncle lived directly across the street from me. And I was doing it now. I was paying attention. I was paying attention to the spirit of our Father through them and watching them. And they used to tell me, come on, let's go on 7th Avenue. And I should say, 7th Avenue where we're going to same day to play ball, because I like playing ball. And if you could get me on the basketball court, you could teach it. Because that's how I taught a lot of ball. And brother, so now, we're going to go by and see the father. I said, what's my father going to do? So he said, no. So brother walked me through the block, and I've been trying to get to the basketball court. And I stood there and I listened. I didn't say nothing. I just did it now. And I didn't know who they was talking about. But I know that they was paying attention. This is a man that commanded their attention. And as the Lord B said, he commanded their attention because he showed them unconditional love. Unconditional. But at times, he would let them know that y'all need to get right, get in line. And now the law revealed to me one time, you know, because again, when you're young, you have a will like anybody else. And you want to do what you want to do. We got children, we know that. But when you're paying attention, or when you're at attention, you can get this. When your mouth is shut, you can get this. 1969, my first trip to Rikers Island. Not paying attention. Not paying attention. I wound up on the ride. Again, these same brothers come to me, because I reflect. I think I'm pretty smart. I think I'm pretty slick. I said, well, you know, a couple of guys, I got a little tough with what they said, but I respected the truth that they was teaching. They said, well, you know, it's time you need to study. I said, yo, you know, I can do that. There's a lot of drugs in the community right now, and I'm going to get some of that paper. But one of the things about coming to the house, we already taught the hustle. Hustle don't mean you wrong. Hustle means get up early, stay up late, get what you need. But these brothers was hustling, they was hustling the truth, hardly anybody was seeing. But they was going all coming to all of us consistent, even when we rebelled against them. And a couple of times, they would threaten and kick your ass if they saw you was wrong. They wouldn't let you do anything or say anything. That I respected. 1970. I said, well, God, why? Let me stop doing these things and start to take this knowledge and study. And really study. Brother didn't give me 1, 2, 3. Gave me 1 to 10 in mathematics album. And I studied it, and I studied it, and I studied it. When I studied it, I said, ain't nothing more powerful than this. Because I like to study. I like school. I like education. I always excel in those circles. Like I tell brothers, I got a PhD from the University of the Culinary Sciences, also known as UCLA. I got a master's degree from a law school. I got a bachelor's degree from the University of Wisconsin and a couple of associate degrees from some other recruiting facilities. What the government called
higher education institution. But with the knowledge and wisdom that was given to me of that cycle by the gods, every institution I went in, I was an A student. I was an ace when it was easy. Wasn't hard, it was easy. And when they told me, you need to go to school, you need to get a job, these are the things that they were telling me, even though some of them wasn't doing it. But they always told me what was right. Even when I didn't want to hear, they told me what was right. I say this in this day and time, wisdom, God. We got to make it complete. I've traveled. I'm trying to get through this history as quickly as I can. I did, the first time I did every rally. I said, I'm going to go to every rally. I'm going to do every rally. It was 1973. I did 12 rallies. I said, I want to see this nation. I did 12 rallies. I didn't miss a rally. I was here for every rally. 1974. The Harlem Six come home from the ride of 64. The energy in the atmosphere started to become charged again. I did every rally, I did the night. I said, this is the most powerful, greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. And I taught my babies, I taught my sisters, I taught my brother, I taught everybody. I said, listen, you ain't got this, you ain't got nothing. And I did do and pay attention to the thought of make sure you go to school. I went to school and I got a job. I did some other things too. But I did those things because I was told that that's how we best represent the truth that the Father revealed us, because he opened the doors. How you act. All of that, 68 when the rise jumped off, and I'm going retrograde. 68, the only brothers who could stop us from stealing everything that wasn't nailed down on 125th Street was the God. They wasn't called God. They was called the brother or the father son. Nobody else could tell me, yo, get out that jewelry store. Not even the police. 68, to show you the power that this nation has, though all the truth was already being manifested. And that's the respect that we have to get back to. And the brothers who was teaching, I say this, because wisdom God is a real powerful degree, because the island is surrounded by water. You're a body of land surrounded by water. The only way you got to get off that island is you got to swim or you got to be an architect of building boats. That island is right where we at. And all the architects, all the builders, all the swimmers. And we say this, talk about brotherly love. You know, one thing I really appreciated in the equality of this nation was that when you had your brothers, because that's what we called each other in the 60s, they was your brothers. Right. And you know, one time, one of my physical sisters said something to my old dad. She said, that's my half brother, because me and her don't have the same mother. So my old dad said, well, excuse me, you got 2 arms? She said, yeah, you got 2 legs? You got a whole head, right? See, how you gonna be happy if your brother is your brother? If it's your sister, it's your sister. That's in truth. And if you don't deal with it in truth, then you're being other than yourself. Again, like I said, I'm really pleased and I'm blessed. I like to thank Allah B. I like to thank Prince. I like to thank all you brothers. I like to thank Allah and Justice. I thank all of God who have continued in their collective effort to keep this knowledge pure and clean. Because that's why we done got real dirty in a lot of ways. They say it's a dirty game. That's what the youngsters say. It's a dirty game. Yeah, get out the dirt. Peace.
Next we have beautiful light. You have?
Yeah.
Come on, beautiful light. It's your time to shine, God. Hit him, God. Give y'all beautiful light.
Peace, God.
Okay.
I'd like to thank the nation of the God and the earth, as well as all our friends and visitors, of giving me this opportunity to address each and every one of you. Of course, I greet you now and forever in peace. I am the chairman of a large universal development, which is the economic hand or economic department within the nation of the God and the earth. The economic department is given the authority to make sure that our nation grows economically. That means that we have to figure out means, methods, and operations of making sure that each and every one of you and each and every one of you children and the future generation can live great according to our supreme mathematics, according to the knowledge we have. Now, this is what I would like each and every one of you to do. Take a few nanoseconds and clear your mind. Get everything out of your mind that's not supposed to be there, so when I speak, the idea that I give you will be so crystal clear there can be no doubt of what I'm saying is going to happen. Clear your mind. That's very important in understanding how to predict and see the future. You must be able to clear your mind of any imperfection. Y'all with me? And building a nation, economics is the primary objective of all nations all over the planet. We are no exception. You and I are no exception. In order for us to have good homes, we must have economics. In order for us to have good schools, we must have economics. In order for us to have a defense department, we must have economics. In order for us to have a communication department, we must have economics. We must have economics. Economics is the basic building block of any and all nations throughout this world. Make no mistakes about that. When you can understand and see that, you can understand the importance of adding on to your national treasure. Then, and only then, will you become motivated to the degree where no one, not even I, can stop you from building within this nation. There are a lot of things that we would like to do as an economic entity, but we cannot do it without your help. That's the reality that we're faced with. We cannot do it without your input. That is the reality that we are faced with. Everything that must be done by you and I. The men and women in this nation who've given the present-day authority to guide and direct our nation in the proper manner in which it should be going so that we can continue to prosper. That's the problem, or that's the responsibility you and I have at this day and time. The problem is that you and I doesn't take that responsibility very serious. We think, when our mind is not clear, that all the other avenues that are out there, or roadblocks that are out there, are better than the one that we're on. It is not so. We must clear our mind to get this picture. We should, if my vision is correct, we have approximately 200 people in this audience. 200 potential economic builders right here in this audience. Let me give y'all a few examples of the power that exists right here amongst us right now at this very moment. The National Treasury has asked each and every one that is capable to contribute $40 to the National Treasury every month. That amounts to approximately $1.32.5 per day. You take these 200 people in this audience giving them $40 a month. Let's be real. One person giving up $40 a month is $480 a year. 10 people giving that up is $4,800 a year. When you take 100 people doing that, you multiply that there through 50 states. And you understand the power that we have? Do you understand the economic foundation that we can build overnight? Do you understand that we can build our national headquarters around the corner at a moment's notice? But it takes each and every one of us to be involved in this building process. Not just Beautiful Life advocated, not just one or two guards saying, yes, that's the proper course to go, but each and every one of us, we must make it an idea that is so strong that we advocate like we advocate 120 degrees. That's how strong it must be. Let me stop this for a minute. I was speaking to firstborn Prince of Law around the corner a few years ago, and he told me a law there with his book of life dropped 120 degrees out. And Prince said his curiosity made him look at the back of the 120 degrees. And back there was a list of things that the nation must do. And he said at the top of that list was economics. The building of our national economic infrastructure. He said that was on the top of the list that the law had listed at what we must do after learning 120 degrees. Think about that. Take these same 200 people in this audience, and each of us do our duty and contribute to the national treasury as we act, that you $40 a month. And understand the power we have come next month. We don't have to pitch pennies to have a parliament in the auditorium. We don't have to beg each other to do the things we have to do. Our resources are supreme. Our resources are great. But we got to internalize those resources. We got to centralize those resources. We got to bring them together. Just like the old theory goes, you got an open hand, it can have power. But if you got a closed hand, you got some serious power. Because centralization of authority is real. Centralization of our economy is what we must get into the habit of doing so that we can grow economically. We take these same 20 people in the auditorium, they contribute $40 a month, we take that money, we put it in the pool, we do that for 1 solid year, and then we begin to build. We build on this part of the planet this year, then we take that same 20 people, we pull our resources together next year, and then we build in another location. And then before you know, we got institutions set up all across this country in the name of the nation of the God, and they're showing and proving the power of Almighty God, Allah, that is here and now and is real. It didn't go to the essence, but it went to the essence of our baby when he went to Exodus 69. That's how you and I can sustain ourselves to this day. It didn't step off with him. Let's be real about this. But we must do it. Leadership of a nation comes from those who take responsibility to lead. Plain and simple. Any and all nations. Nobody can appoint you to a leadership position. You see a problem, you begin to address that problem, you begin to build. You become, in that phrase, the leader of that particular issue. Then you get a multitude of brothers and sisters doing the same thing, and you have what we call a leadership. And then all of us stand as big I and big you. Because we would all be building for one common cause. But let's go to Father see effect. Let's not just sit back and say, okay, I'm going to lead it to God so-and-so or earth so-and-so to do this, that, and other. Let's all do this here. Let's all do this here. Let's all get this situation together. Let's all make it in our mind that we're going to give up that mere $1.32.5 per day to our national treasure. It is a real situation that can be done almost overnight. Provided you and I become dedicated enough to make the sacrifice that has to be made. Remember, sacrifices lead somewhere. You don't make a sacrifice and there's no outcome. You make a sacrifice to achieve something. You make a sacrifice to accomplish something. You make a sacrifice so that you can see the end result of that which you are sacrificing for. You know, you make a sacrifice for a purpose, goal, with an objective in mind. So let's make the proper sacrifice. Let's start channeling ourselves in an area where we can benefit each and every one of us. When I say help us build our national headquarters around the corner, that's what I mean, our national headquarters. Where brothers and sisters from all over the planet can say, we have a headquarters. You have the Catholics who have Vatican City. You have the Muslims who have Mecca. You have the God on earth who have Mecca here around the corner. That's our national headquarters. And this should look like a splendid and grand location. That means that every one of us will take it and say, okay, this is ours, and this is what we're going to do with it. And then start doing it. Let's get it together, because it can't be done in our lifetime. It must be done in our lifetime, because people like him and him going to ask us why we did not do our duty, knowing that we've been around here for 41 years, and in 10 years it'll be 51 years. And there should be no reason why these babies have to go through the things I went through. The things you went through. They shouldn't have to suffer and struggle to get the things that you and I are supposed to know how to get at men. You have nations developing all over the planet, nations changing governments all over the planet, and here we are sitting as if we have no consciousness of what nation building is about. But yet we say we are all wise. When I was a young guy, we said we were all wise. We went out to prove that. You couldn't tell us something that just expected, you know, they did. We said we were the original man, we wanted to find out how, why. Let us ask these questions. Let's put these things into effect. Let's see if we can actually make them lessons walk and talk like we've been saying they could do. And we went out and experimented with it. I mean, when I was in junior high school, almost the whole school was God and earth. We didn't have one or two gods in that school, not with this knowledge. Almost the whole school was up. When we came to the parliament with the train goes. Yeah. I remember them days. Yeah. But remember the old saying, many come, but only a few are chosen. Those who choose themselves. You must make it upon your own self, because you God and earth by yourself. I didn't make you God and earth. You're not here because you're here because of yourself. That's the eye that you have to learn to live by. And then become interdependent upon each other, meaning we build together. We build as a unit. The economic department of the nation of the God and earth is a law of universal development. Teach it, advocate it, build it like you do your 120 degrees, and guarantee all the things that we need to do will get done. Hey.
All right, we're going to keep this thing moving because time is of the essence. We got Born Black. Right now, Born Black is Assistant Treasurer of the Law Youth Center in Mecca, and he got something to add on too. Give you Born Black.
This parliamentary rally is supposed to be about the 70s. I got knowledge in the 70s, but I didn't get knowledge in the street. I got knowledge in the peanut. When I got knowledge from different brothers. A lot of them brothers didn't take the knowledge or didn't keep the knowledge. They just passed the knowledge on to some of us who was fortunate enough to get it, understand it, and keep it. They're not here. You won't see these brothers in this nation. But I still want to thank them for giving me the knowledge. You understand? They gave me the knowledge, and I gave that knowledge on to other brothers, other sisters, so they did their job. They didn't understand what I understand. Or they didn't see it the way I saw it. So they couldn't live it the way I live it. But they served their purpose. Their purpose was to make sure that I got it. And I got it. The 70s itself was a real different time than it is today. The nation of God's and earth, which wasn't called, when I got knowledge, we didn't call ourselves the nation of God's and earth. We call ourselves the nation of the 5%. And I was God in the nation of the 5%. This is how I was taught. But it was a different era. We had a different way of doing things. We had a different way of activating our knowledge. Our attitudes was different. We showed and proved that we were different than the average person. And that way, by us being different, we attracted a lot of people. So you can't be just like the Bill Powers and say you God. You're going to either have to be God or you're going to have to be a Bill Power. They're not going to be attracted to you if you're doing the same thing that they're doing. You have to be different. You have to walk it, talk it, rest it. Everything you do got to be right and exact. Because they watch you. You say you God. You say you're the supreme being. Or you say you're earth. You're saying you're something different from what they are. But if they don't see no difference, they ain't going to want to become a part of this. You wouldn't have came a part of this if you didn't see no difference. You saw something different here. And that's why you came here. So the attitude in the nation has to be different from the attitude of the everyday person. And this is what attracts them to it. If you want the nation to build, if you want to add on, then you have to show people that you're different from them. And by doing so, they will add on, and we can build a nation that we should be building. Economically, physically, emotionally, mentally, and every other way. But as long as we do what they do, we activate the way they act, we want to be a part of the same thing, that there's nothing being accomplished. They don't say anything being accomplished. They don't want to add on. And this is why our numbers are decreasing instead of increasing. Our numbers should be increasing, but they're decreasing. The reason reason why they're decreasing, because we are not giving them anything or showing them anything that they want to add on to. When we would activate the way we should be activated, and then now they saw the difference, our numbers will increase. But if you're not doing anything, your numbers going to decrease. In the 70s, our numbers increased because we were different. In the 2000s, our numbers are decreasing because we ain't that much different. So there's something wrong. So I would advise all brothers, sisters, maybe it's time for us to go back in the 120 lessons and actually go in there and get out what you left or what you might have forgot. Because if you don't use it, you what? Lose it. All right, so you have to get them lessons. A lot of brothers and sisters don't even study lessons no more. You ask them a question, they can't even answer it because they ain't going over their lessons the way they know they should. They don't do it. They done forgot that the lessons is your foundation. This is what gives you the power to live. If you don't study your lessons, how you going to activate your knowledge? You can't activate something you don't know. And if you don't know it, the only reason you don't know it is because you haven't been studying it. And a lot of us, whether you accept it or not, don't be studying the lessons. Don't be going over the lessons. You got them. They're in the house, in the drawer, under the bed, in the closet. They there, but you don't go over them. You know you don't. And as you don't go over them, you can't live. And that's why things are happening the way they happen. We go over our lessons, we understand our lessons, we study our lessons, and we can do things, we can make things happen, we can make things change. If you don't study them, you're going to stay the same way you are. Our Father gave us our lessons for a purpose. He gave us our lessons to study, so that we are known, so that we can live. You can't live what you don't know. That's basically all I got to say. Peace. Peace, God. But you can ask me that question later on, bro. Peace. Great. I know y'all know me, I'm pretty God off. I ain't been up here in a while. And I'm going to tell you, it's been a trip, man. I seen hell, I seen love, I seen hate, I seen everything that a man could possibly see. One thing I learned, that the Father always taught, what we got here, this is always going to be the same. This ain't going to never change. But when I got knowledge in 6th grade, and what the blessing was, I had the whole deal. I got 18 beautiful kids. I got 9 boys and 9 girls. You understand? And I said, damn, when we got free cycle, what are we supposed to do out here now? But you know what I learned? Everything, ever since I've been here, to be God is to be God in your own self and be God in your world. You got to build a nation within your world and your environment around you. And this is why when our children grow up, this is what you must teach them. You got to teach them your Islam. You understand? See, people got it twisted and got confused. I had to learn a lot. I had to go through a lot. When God blessed me with the knowledge He gave me, blessed me to go all over the world. I was in England, anywhere you want to name this planet. I went back to Africa, I was all over the world. And everywhere I went on this planet, I seen God. Word is God. Everywhere I went, to Japan, wherever you name, I seen God. So what I had to do, I had to go back home and renew my history. Renewing my history was the babies that I put out here. So this nation here, we don't got to build up no more. You know how many children we don't build in this nation? So now I'm telling you, the thing we got to go back and do is get our children and teach them now all over again. Give them the knowledge that the Father gave us. See, when the man said free cycle means you go off and you do this. It's now you go, you find your children that you put out here and don't leave them on the world to be a burden to the world. And you go teach your children Islam. And then you show the proof you God. Other than that, I don't know who you is. Because a lot of brothers got babies running around, you don't even know where your baby's at. I know we come in, we had children, we had black women, we had everything. But you know what? The teachings have stopped. And the only reason why the teachings have stopped is people get selfish in this time as they start growing. And the selfishness brings a lot of greed. That's all it do, it brings greed. Where the family is not a family no more. It's like we divided. There's a house in here that's divided because you got different people coming in different walks of life and they don't have the understanding of what this is really all about or who God is. A lot of people still, right today, don't know who God is. They don't even know what this really means. Some people still in this audience don't know what the Father said real means, what the real meaning to this. And I'm still here.
I'm 48 years old, and I'm still here. When I came out, I was a young boy, a kid, and I'm still here, ain't ran nowhere. So we ain't got to go outside now and search for that. It doesn't matter this. We ain't got to go out there and get 1,000 people coming here because it's here already. If you ask some of the children, some of these brothers got here, we got our own nation. Now let's keep down. Instead of going out there trying to get a bunch of knuckleheads who think they know it all and don't know nothing, bring them back in the house full of confusion. We ain't about that. We God in the universe. We know we got the solution to every problem in the world. Every problem in the world, we got the solution to it. And all we got to do is what? Do our job. Ain't nobody can tell me how to be God. I know how to be God on myself. I got children. And my children show me how they got to act. Because when I see them go out get out of hand and do the things that they do, I got to correct myself. Because a lot of brothers don't even, they made a lot of babies, they don't even know their children act. Trust me, you don't even know your children act. And that's a shame. And you say, we're about the babies. How many of your children you bring with you and you teaching them all over things? But you can run outside and say, well, I'm teaching this brother, I'm educating this brother. How can you educate another man if you can't educate yourself? Teach. The Father said, clean your own backyard before you try to clean somebody else's up. So how you gonna possibly convince me you out there teaching and you got a bunch of babies running down the street with savage that came from you? So we ain't got to go out here and get nobody to come in this politics no more. Our house is full now. We ain't got to go out there and look for nobody no more to come here. All you do is go out there now and find your children. Go find where your babies at. Bring them back here. That's what you got to go do and teach them the way the Father taught us. And this will clear all that up. Then it ain't a house divided no more. But remember I said, United States divided, we were full as men. We were always full as men that we divide ourselves from each other. My quality is supposed to be the same as your quality. It ain't supposed to be no different than your quality and my quality. And when I walk for myself, I walk for my brother. You understand? There's no difference, so we can't get it twisted in here. It ain't no difference. Like I said, I've been around, seen so many things people talking about me. I don't care. They said this. One thing I say, I'm still here. Still here. I'm 48 years old, still here. Teaching this the same way I was taught and teaching my children. And every one of mine is a blessing. That's all mine is with me. And I teach every one of them. You ask anybody, with a member, who board, bring 10, 3 with all of it. I got 18 of them, all mine with me. And I teach every one of them. I don't need nobody to teach my babies nothing. Teach them something that they don't what? How can I believe that? I'm gonna let somebody else do my job? What you gave up, what y'all gave up? We are men among men. Go ahead and just think for yourself. You know how to build. You know how to go out there and get food for your house. You know how to go out there and get clothes from your back. Then you should know how to build a nation. That ain't hard. The simplest things out in this world seem like it's all hard. But some of you say yourself out.
I'll have to
I
say
hardly see that as a doubt that's a God. You can't trick me with that.
me too, didn't you? Yes, sir.
You can't fool me. But I know who God is in person. And I see him every day. So that's why I'm telling you, I gotta stop searching around. Stop searching. You don't gotta search no more. Everything you see is in this house now. You ain't gotta go out there and say you gotta bring $1,000 there and teach. All you gotta do is go back and find the children until you see Islam. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna hold that little brother want to do this, and I'm gonna tell you something. I love everyone. It's a blessing to be back here. You understand? I went through a couple of things on still here. I had 2 heart attacks. Stayed in the hospital too much. Almost had a stroke, the whole left side went out. I healed myself. But I know I need to live. I know how to survive. Slow down. You understand what I'm saying? And this is what we got to do. I went through hell to be right here today.
Teach God. Teach.
You understand what I'm saying? And I'm still here with you. And that's my blessing. That was my blessing to come here and do this forever. This is what I have to do when see, ain't nobody made me God. I stand up and told myself I was God. So I knew what I had to do. I had to do. I had to perform and be stand up as a man saying that I'm God. Ain't nobody twist my arm. Ain't nobody asked me to come run around with brother searching for knowledge. I did this on my own. So I'm held responsible now. So now I got to do this before whether I want to do it or not. Ain't nobody need to tell a grown ass man what to do. You don't have to build your nation. Everything I want for myself, I want for my nation. It ain't no problem. I see my nation having a problem with their life. I'm probably going to get 5 brothers and pay the light bill. That's right. If I see my nation have a problem with eating, I'm going to take 4 sisters and give them $100 and tell them to some food to eat. Teach, these things are not hard, but you make it seem like it's hard. Because the enemy, the jealousy, is still in the house. That's how the devil is.
That's right.
Because it starts from you. That's what the devil says, because it starts from you, because you become dissatisfied with your own self. So you're going to make everybody else miserable. Keep that out of here. We don't need it. I can play if I can walk in this door and go to 2 people to see, and I know I did my job. I start all over again. Hey, I can continue starting all over again. I don't need 1,000 people around me to be God. I can be God by myself. Bitch. Bitch, freedom.
My name is Law. My name got 13 letters in it. That's how I was raised with this knowledge of self. I got knowledge of self out of this in 1974. I know basically everybody in here. When I was raised with this knowledge, when I came here as a young guard, sat in these seats, there was fire breathers up here. Let me tell y'all what a fire breather is. A fire breather is a brother who has internalized this knowledge, and when he opens his mouth, and when he builds, you are infused with this power. This brother walking down here right now, Divine Prince. You know, when I met him, I was a young guard. He told me the black man was God. I was a young guard, didn't know, but he knew. He told me the black man was God. I used to argue with him. Black man ain't God. But the difference between not knowing and getting the knowledge is that once you get it and you internalize it, it becomes part and parcel of your very being. So because the knowledge was so powerful in the 70s, the whole Jamaica Queens was just, you couldn't get on a bus, you couldn't go to school, there was nowhere you could go where you didn't have peace, God. Knowledge is understanding. I was brought to this knowledge through the power of attraction. It wasn't even about promotion. I saw the gods, I heard the gods, and I became God.
Anybody got a red Cutlass double parked outside? CZZ915. Got somebody blocked in.
That's how I got this knowledge, man. You know, through attraction rather than promotion, man. This is a brief history, man, for me, like coming up in the 70s. I want to make it clear that mathematics adds and multiplies. And it's so right and exact that the gods who came in the God cipher, to me, it's only like the days that you were living God. He came in that cipher of God. In the mathematical realm of knowledge born, I came in God's cipher. And so it's no surprise to me that like we used to be in ciphers with the law real, and the law of mathematics, Rashima law, and law revealed, that when God used to talk about out of the 50 brothers standing in the cipher, 10 years from now, 30 of you dudes ain't even gonna be around. I always knew that I was not one of those 30. See, I always knew. See, I always knew that when I internalized this knowledge, that I didn't have to be like a fire breather, because I am a fire breather. It was just a moment in time when my maturation with this knowledge would develop, and I would be as my brothers were, as my father is. And that's as simple as it is with this knowledge. You know, back in the 70s, this nation knew who was next. You know, when you're playing basketball, you got people sitting on the sideline, I got next. Well, in the growing development of the nation, in the 70s, you knew who was next. I got up at Mount Morris, Fort Greene. Wherever there was a parliament, I got up and built. I learned 120 degrees in 90 days. Because the cipher of activity as far as constructive building with these supreme mathematics and supreme mathematics at 120 degrees was so intense in the 70s. It was intense. If you didn't know your lessons, or if you was in my cipher and you built with me on a daily basis, and I learned the 8th degree to 1 to 14, and the next day when I came outside, I bet you I knew the 9th degree because you did. We was competitive, not against each other, but we was competitive in achieving the common goal. And you see, here's the difference today. Back in the days, we didn't have money. We never worried about it. When it came time for the father social, we went to Nubia. We did our thing. I'm so ashamed. I had never seen, unless somebody else correct me, a year when we didn't have a dance in New York City, the honor, the father principle. Now, if somebody got other information, share it with me. But this year,
tribalism in this nation, man. But back in the days, we surely did build battle. You know, in the desert, you know, I came from Medina, when I got this knowledge, we was raised to be scientists. See, in Medina was the land of the warriors. So you had Universal Syntax City, you knew who was next. Understand what I'm telling y'all? Because brothers was building in their communities at such a terrific rate that our nation was growing and adding and multiplying. And so you can almost identify the young guards who was coming out of the different boroughs who was going to carry this nation into the 21st century. Sad to say, well, let me just say that before I say sad to say. How many guards in here right now is in the physical degree of 15 to 24? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's it. 15 to 24, dog. I need to see your hand. Y'all got next, man. Y'all ready? Y'all got next, man. Look, the majority of the guards that you see now in 2005 like 30 and over, man. You understand? We need who got next. We need somebody to raise their hand and say, yo, don't even worry about it, little kid. I got next. Because I'm worried. I'm a little worried. I'm a little concerned.
Don't be concerned, Black.
You know, I'm just saying that, like, it's a personal type of feeling that I have when I look at the growth and development of the nation, and we can talk about the growth and development outside of the 5 boroughs now because we are 9 regions. And so we can see new methods spreading or popping up all over the country. Right now, like the brother told y'all earlier, I'm in Region 4 because I had to leave here. And Region 4 consists of Virginia, North Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. And on April 8th, 9th, and 10th, we will be doing our 3rd regional conference. We will be having our 8th annual Black and Gold. We will have our 3rd annual Black and Gold Dance and our 8th annual Family Day. All are invited. We'll give out flyers. And like I said, I am concerned. Even though I can see new methods popping up all over the country, this is home for me. This will always be home for me. And I'm so concerned because, like I say, little signs. When I don't see a dance on the fire, I'm a little concerned. That's a sign that something ain't go right. I ain't talking about no. Just something go right. And all I'm saying to those who know me, those who've seen me over the years, is that, man, like you, I have remained dedicated. Like you, I have sought to find what my niche was in this nation and to give all that I have and all within my power to see that I'm responsible for doing what I consider my part. Nobody told me what my part was. In fact, I worked hard and looked long to see what could I do. I've never been too good with the money, and I never liked to mess with money. Because to me, money brings too many problems. I've always concentrated on cultural issues. You know, back in the day, I wrote a degree which was about what the Lord meant when he said not to marry under the government. Back in the day, in 1984, I first met Black Messiah. I first met a Law B. I'm here to tell you that my name was written in the stars. See, a lot of y'all don't even know about it. My name was written in the stars in the law school. For me being a young guy traveling to Mecca and having my name finally inscribed in the stars was like a major achievement. For me, meeting brothers who I read about in the history of our father, our foresightful, meeting Rod Chad, meeting, I'm saying everybody that I read about was like monumental for me, man. And it's like such a beautiful thing. You understand? That this knowledge can be passed orally to you, but what will be even greater is when we create our own time capsule. Because as we get older and older, those who were here with the first generation will leave us. And if the knowledge that they have contained within the membranes of their brain is taken and not transcribed orally or through those video cameras, then we lose it. What I have here is a brief time capsule. This is a letter that I received from a Law B from Comstock in 1985. This is the Freeborn Law campaign that I became a part of in 1985. when I came home, I took the brother's picture, and his face used to be here, but this is a little bit old. And I put his face everywhere. Everywhere was a blank wall, I put his face because at that time the brother was still in the middle of that 27-year bid. This is one of the papers that emanated out of the correctional facilities back then. It's called the Enlightenment. This right here is from the wake of the law mathematics. I don't know how many of y'all knew this brother, man, but this brother had a profound effect on me. He was a scientist, he was a warrior, he birthed his own babies. I saw God in all of his glory because I became part of this nation. I became God. I lived this reality, and I love this reality. You know, right now, I deal with prison advocacy. Right now, I am so concerned about the plight of our incarcerated brothers, but then when I look back, I see I always have been. This is a letter that I received on 5/21/85, and that I answered on 5/29/85. This was sent to me by Wise God Springs. He is no longer with us. But this is part of the work that I continue to do, that I see I've always done. And what I'm trying to tell y'all is that y'all is the greatest nation on the face of this planet, but we still have 85% of the population who are involved in fantasy and have embraced the mystery. And at the same time have denied the reality of what they look at and see in the mirror. How can you put in front of you or put before you a mystery God when you have never seen and deny the God that you look at every day when you wake up and you wash your face? And that is the dilemma that the nation of God's on earth, formerly known as the 5%, were presented with. Because it was our job and duty to raise the dead. Which means that all of you who are here already know or are interested in this knowledge itself. But how do we reach out and teach the 85% who nowadays in 2005 are caught up in the culture of pleasant distraction? How do we reach out and bring in the youth who today are caught up in the culture of pleasant distraction? Like I said, in the 70s, this was the culture of dominant attraction. It is not the same today. Right now, Bloods and Crips are the predominant force factor in all our communities, and let's face it, we had projects that was all gods, not no more. And the only difference between then and now is the level of teaching and the level of outreach that we are doing. So once again, all things are caused by the Son of Man, and as we know, the Son of Man is God. So at the end of the day, we are ultimately responsible. So in order for us to fulfill our duty and continue to raise the dead and to teach the babies, because it is within the babies that this nation will be taken into like 2070. Is anybody looking ahead like the great scientists predicted our history? 8,004, they predicted our history so far in advance that we need to be able to adopt that same